Welcome to Module 2 of Autodesk Fusion 360. A two-dimensional sketch is the basis of any solid model created in any CAD software. In Fusion 360, you need to select Create and then Create Sketch in order to create a sketch. Once you select Create Sketch, Fusion will ask you which plane do you want to select for the sketch. Usually it's easiest to start sketching on the front plane, but you can sketch on any other plane depending on the component that you want to create. Once the front plane has been selected, as you can see, multiple different options will appear on the toolbar. These options are broadly classified into three different categories: the Create option, the Modify option, and the Constraint options. The Create options will let you create a variety of different shapes. Modify options will let you modify the shapes that you have just created using the Create options. And while you're still in the process of creating and modifying, you might want to use constraints so that your sketch does not move and designer intent is preserved. Looking at the options under the Create menu, you can draw a line, a rectangle, a circle, an arc, a polygon, an ellipse, a slot, a spline, any kind of conic curve that's determined by an algebraic equation of varying orders, a point, a text, mirror an entity that you have already created, create a circular pattern from an entity that you have already created, create a rectangle pattern from an entity you have already created, or add the dimension of a entity that you have just added onto your sketch. Moving on to the modify options, you can actually fillet a corner, or you can create a chamfer on a corner. You can also trim an extra line or an extra bit of an arc. You can extend a line or a curve to its nearest intersecting boundary. You can create a section break in order to have two or more segments where it intersects the other entities. You can also create a scale sketch or offset from a pre-created sketch. In the constraints, you can add a horizontal and vertical constraint for a line, a coincident constraint for 2 points, or a point and a line or curve together, a tangent constraint for an arc and a line, an equal constraint for a dimension, a parallel constraint between two lines, a perpendicular constraint between two lines, fix an entity such as a point or the center of a circle, define a midpoint of a line or an arc, or specify whether two circles or arcs are concentric, specify whether two entities start at the same point or whether they're symmetrical or is there a specified curvature to them. Once you're done creating your sketch, you need to select Finish Sketch in order to create a 3D model from the sketch that you have just created.